you gonna review the bills, or are you gonna go off the spreadsheet?
I'm going to review them.
Okay, I was gonna say, cause if not, then we could get some of that other stuff done and maybe I could talk about election too.
We got a few seconds. Can we approve the bills going off the spreadsheet and then I can sign them later?
You're
Or-
gonna have to sign them later, yeah.
I know I have to sign them later. Can we do it that way?
Mhm. That's how we used to do it for years.
Yeah. We can,
Okay,
yeah, we can use the spreadsheet.
okay, that'll work for me then. And I'll just cross them off as I go through. Good morning, it's 9 o'clock. We're gonna call our Mercer County Commission meeting to order. First thing I wanna do is roll call. Wayne Ency, are you here? Merlin Dahl?
Here.
Dwayne?
Here,
Marv here. Dwight Berger? Okay, we have a quorum of 3, and meeting will proceed. Next thing on the order of business is to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Berger asked me to add road issues to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other changes or additions to the meeting? Can I-
Just to let you know, Steve Razor's going to try and join us at about 9:30 or so when we talk about this coronavirus stuff, so, you know, we may want to be ready for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye,
And I vote aye. Motion carried. Merlin, can you hear me pretty good?
I can hear you just fine.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is to approve the minutes for March 18. I have a motion to approve the minutes for March 18.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? There being no discussion, I'll have a vote. Dwayne, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes for March 20th. It's our special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Aye.
special meeting as presented.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? There being no discussion, I'll have a vote. Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay. We're going to review and approve the bills going off the spreadsheet that Shanna provided. I will cross-reference them with the invoices and sign those after the meeting. But we will approve the bills going off the spreadsheet. Is there a motion to accept or deny or change to approve the minute, or the bills for April 1, 2020?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer bill.
I think we can do them all together. don't we?
Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve all of them as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have some discussion, Mr. Chairman.
I'm listening, sir. We are.
I'm thinking that maybe in the future, for a while now, once we do get back together, that when we go through those bills, perhaps it might be a good idea for people to wear gloves as we're going through those things, because I know we all handle those and pass them around. So maybe just food for thought. I guess we can see what shakes out.
I will wear gloves. Good suggestion. Shanna has provided them.
Very good.
Do you have any more discussion?
No,
I just have a couple things, just points. We have a large bill at number 34 for Wilmington Trust. I would like Shanna to appraise the board how that works.
That is our yearly payment to Wilmington Trust for the GO bond for the jail.
One of the payments, correct?
Right, that's the big one.
And the next payment is?
We get it in April and like September, October, I believe.
Thank you.
Yep,
Just so the board is aware, our total bill for 2020,
Dwight.
just let me finish my statement. Our present bill for 2020 is about 228.5 thousand. This is our first payment of 187, balance due, as Shanna explained, in October and November. So everybody's appraised of that. Hello, Dwight, are you here?
yep,
All right, thank you. Just to bring Dwight up to speed, we are reviewing the bills on the spreadsheet that Shanna provided. That's the list we will use for approval today.
okay.
And, did we have a motion on that?
Yep, Dwayne and Merlin second. You were on discussion.
Didn't write it down. Okay, we're on discussion. Do you have any discussion on approving those bills, Dwight?
No, I don't.
Okay, we have a motion by Dwayne, seconded by Merlin. And is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? There being no further discussion, Dwayne,
I vote aye.
Merlin,
Aye.
Dwight,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay, we're going to move down. We're moving along here. Let's talk about ready to talk about the sheriff's expedition? We'll talk about the sheriff's expedition, please.
Okay, I have a 2012 Expedition sitting out in the parking lot, you may have seen that. It has 119,000 miles on it. It has a broken windshield, it's been hailed out, that hasn't been fixed, it also was totaled out when it hit a deer, but we did fix that. I am wondering if the board wants to have the sheriff's department take that down to auction, or if they want me to put an ad for bids in the paper for this vehicle.
I believe,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Merlin.
Shanna, you said it had 119,000 miles?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Is there a reason that the damage wasn't fixed when it happened? We do have insurance.
Right, I don't think that they thought it was worth fixing it when it got hailed out. But
Well,
they
if we
did
have
fix
full
it.
coverage insurance, I don't know where that's anybody's decision.
Well, that was a couple years ago, so I don't know. You would have to check with the sheriff's department on that.
Is there anybody there? Oh, Mr. Chairman,
No. There-
There's
is there
nobody here.
anybody from the sheriff's department available?
No. And I agree that that possibly should have been taken care of at that time, but if it's in the past, that's a question we should review and we can get an answer for. But at this point, we're looking at selling it, and I'd like to move our questions in line with how we want to proceed with that. One of the questions I have, you read all these statutes and then you don't see them for a while. Are we obligated by law to advertise to the public? I think we are. Okay, I would like to table this, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this to review county statutes regarding sale of vehicles. I make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
Is that Dwight?
I can be. Yes, that was me, Mr. Chairman. Merlin.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
I think there,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Merlin.
Mr. Chairman, I think, if we can, since we're tabling this, is get an explanation from the Sheriff's Department as to why an insurance claim wasn't filed at the time.
We can do that.
And have that maybe for our next meeting.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dwight.
I think they should go ahead and get estimates on what it'd cost to fix it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Dwight, I will ask that question. I don't, being it's historical, I don't think that we may even get any answer for that, but I will ask the question. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I vote aye. Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Motion passed. Table to next meeting. We're going to, well, huh?
The liquor license?
That's where I was looking at. I was just curious, no one's gonna be here though. You look up all the time. We're gonna move down to, under other business, the liquor license, 443, the Hub at Hazen Bay.
They have requested a semi-annual permit for on and off sale beer and liquor, and they have attached their $450 check with that, to begin 5/15 of 2020 for 6 months.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license 443.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second?
Dwayne seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Dwight, how would you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay, under other business, we have nurses quarterly report and EM 911 quarterly report for our review. And we can do that on our own unless someone has a comment.
They didn't get them. They're in the baskets.
Were they, Mr. Chairman, were they included in our pamphlet?
No, they're in your mailbox at this time.
Here, in my.
Mailbox.
At your office, at the Shanna's office.
I didn't know there was such a thing. Pretty tough to review them if we haven't got them.
I agree. What I would offer for an idea, I just received mine this morning. Typically, we get everything. This time, those two weren't in our packet. What I would suggest is that we review them. If there's any comments, we can bring them up at our next meeting. Is that agreeable with everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no motion required for that. We we've still got 10 minutes to our next. We're going to talk about portfolio updates and see if there's any discussion there. Dwayne?
I really have nothing. Our last ambulance board meeting was canceled. They emailed everything out and reviewed it, and I have nothing to report on the landfill at this time.
Dwight, do you have anything?
I had talked, as far as the road department, I had talked to Shanna before the meeting, and I didn't get signed on soon enough to find out if that was added to the agenda.
Yes, it is.
Okay, then I have nothing. I haven't been to any meetings. It sounds like the next water board meeting will probably be canceled or remotely, so.
Okay. Merlin?
I haven't been to any either, but we may or may not have a planning and zoning meeting coming up here in a couple of weeks. We'll have to see what pans out with that. And again, with buildings and grounds, everything is in pretty good shape. And like I said, we're going to be discussing something once we get to our coronavirus area. That's
Okay.
all I have.
Thank you. This is Marv. I don't have anything either. Most of my business has been having to do with the coronavirus, and that'll be covered underneath that agenda item. Okay, that's completes our portfolio updates. Now we have a few minutes yet. We can talk about the road issues.
I got a call. This Tracy Holhertz has got 135 loads of precast scheduled to be delivered for the animal feeding, his feedlot out there, and he's wondering what to do. They're all 80,000-pound loads.
What is the load restriction on those roads?
Well, it's 65,000 unless we're going with what the state recommends.
Okay. Well, I wanted that on the record, and it refreshes my memory. I'll speak for myself. I'm aware of the state lifted the load restrictions on the state highways. The information I had yesterday, and it could be somewhat incorrect, but what I saw was only 2 counties followed that for their roads. Ken Nelson called me and recommended that we do not, Ken Miller, we do not take our load restrictions off, and I also agree with that. So that's my discussion, is that we leave everything as is, and Tracy Holberts would have to comply with our present load restrictions. So, but let's talk about the road issues first. Does anybody want to entertain a motion to, any more discussion on changing the road restrictions?
Are you asking for discussion or a motion?
I'm asking, if someone wants to change them, they can make a motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we follow the state recommendations we have with everything else.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Do we have a second to change the road restrictions?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I have no second, but really, is it relevant for us to do that if we already said that we're going to do it?
Okay, we have a motion.
we're at.
We have a motion to continue discussion. We should have a second. We have no second. Motion failed. Okay.
Back to more road issues. We have farmers hauling in corn and stuff, and they're beating the roads to death. There's a couple of them out there that are getting really bad, according to Ken Miller. There's soft spots developing in them, and it looks to me like if we're going to allow it for some, we're opening ourselves up for a discrimination suit.
I'm not sure that we are opening any of ours. The state did. The state has a right to, but the county has not changed. So
I know they haven't, but people are still doing it, and we have no enforcement.
the enforcement is another question, but I agree with you, and I'm going to ask Ken to get me a list of where this is occurring, and we can see what we can do about enforcing.
Well, according to Ken, he's already notified the sheriff's department, but they didn't have time to notify the farmers.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, I'm listening. We are listening.
if you get a list of that, would I please be able to get a copy?
I will ask Ken to send a copy to all commissioners.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir?
Mr. Berger, are those paved roads or are they gravel? Or a mixture?
Gravel roads.
Thank you.
We are on hold for a few minutes until 9:25. We've covered everything under other business.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
who all is at the meeting?
Dwayne Shire,
I'd like to, you and Dwayne?
Dwayne, Marvin, Shanna, and Candy.
Okay. I just wanted to know who was remote and who was in person, so.
There are several more remote that I did not mention.
Well, I know there's remotes out there, but I just wanted to know who was attending.
Physically, I gave you their names. That's all that's here.
Yep, that's fine. The county agent's monthly report we received in the mail, or at least I did, so that's there for everybody's review too.
That clock's still 2 minutes slow.
Nope, it matches my watch.
Okay, it's 9:25. We'll move on to the next item on our agenda. That's a fire emergency declaration and burn ban. This is given to us by Carmen Reed. The state has, prior to yesterday, I think we were in a high danger area, and she would like to have a burn ban proclamation to follow the states. Is that correct, Shannon?
Yes.
I need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Is that Dwight? Was that Dwight?
No, Merlin.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Do we really need one at this time?
We're in a firefighter meeting.
Not today, but this would go into effect. It would follow all summer, whatever the state declaration was.
They're actually in a high fire danger right now, is what Carmen had explained to me yesterday.
Dwight, I can't say, do we need it right now because it rained in our part of the county, but we, as far as I know, the high fire danger has not been lifted. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
So if people need to do outside burn, they should probably take care of it the next day or so?
It just follows the state weather rating.
Put your mic down so they can hear you.
Right here,
I'll read the resolution.
just that part.
Right. It said, be it further resolved that the Board of Mercer County Commissioners proclaims that a Stage 1 burn ban remain in effect until further notice or whenever the North Dakota fire danger rating is high, very high or extreme and/or a red flag warning has been issued for Mercer County to include all incorporated cities. There is not a date that she made this, but she called me 2 days ago, and that's when she made the resolution. She cannot be here today due to unforeseen circumstances. So unless the burn ban is changed, I believe that we should follow this resolution if we adopt it. Is there any further discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight? Are you still with us, Dwight?
Yes, I am. I'm contemplating. I'm just kind of wondering why we're following the state on some issues and not on others, but I will vote aye.
Thank you. I vote aye. Motion passed. For your information, Jessica is with us now also. They want to know who's.
The highway department is here listening now in too also, Ken and Elroy.
Thank you. We have 1 minute to wait
Steve
for.
Reiser from Dakota Central Human Services is also on the line.
Would you repeat that title, please, a little slower?
This is Steve Reiser from Dakota Central Human Services.
Thank you, Steve. It's 9:30. We'll move to our next agenda item. Candy Strand, it says landfill supervisor replacement hire. That's all the information I know at this time. Candy is ready to present her information.
Okay, I have here a letter from my newest employee, Greg Learman.
Pardon me?
Greg Learman, my newest employee, I have a resignation letter here from him that will go into effect as of June 25th. And I am asking permission from the commission. My son had given me an application and I need permission to hire a family member at the landfill. And my reasons for wanting to hire him, I think he would be an asset in the future at the landfill.
From my brief experience, Candy, I believe we have to put this application out to the public.
Actually, we did put it out, and I did receive 2 other applications besides my son, but in between the 3 of them, I believe he is my best choice out of the 3 I have received.
Did you interview the other 2?
Huh?
Did you interview?
I haven't interviewed anybody.
Okay.
I'm asking for permission to see where it is I can go where.
My suggestion is that all 3 applicants that applied, send it to the county commissioners and let us review it, and we would vote at a later time.
She has the authority to hire and fire. The issue she's asking for you guys is specific to the restriction on nepotism, that a official cannot be in charge of a family member or supervise them without the blessing of the board. That's a statutory requirement. So as far as picking out of those applicants, she has the ability to do that. She's picked one, but needs your blessing. If you don't give it, it'll revert back to the other 2, but she has the authority to pick out of those applicants.
Okay.
Actually, Greg will be done.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dwight.
I would like to, I don't know if I should make a motion or a recommendation that we postpone any new hires until after this June 1st magic number has been approached.
What is the magic number?
I don't think we should bring new people on board when under the circumstances.
Dwight, what magic number are you talking about?
Well, June 1st is the number the president has recommended for things back to normal.
I don't think that has much to do with, they need an employee at the landfill, a 3rd employee, so if whoever she's allowed to hire is sick, they just have to stay home. But that has nothing to do with this.
In order to, I'm sorry, you done?
Go ahead. What,
Okay. In order for us to, as I understand it, follow Candy's suggestion, we would have to have a motion for this instance to change our nepotism rule.
The nepotism rule multi-century
Hello?
code. So it would allow her to hire this specific applicant. It's specific just to this. Yep.
I'll state on the record that I am against changing that. So we have an application by your son?
Yes, Robert Strand.
We have a suggestion from Candy to hire her son. In order to do so, we would have to have a motion to, in this instance, allow her to do so.
Mr. Chairman, so move.
What's the motion? What's Merlin's?
Merlin, I need you to state your motion, please.
My motion is to allow Candy Strand to employ her son as a worker out at our county landfill.
So you're Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dwight.
are you, I understand the motion that is actually bypassing, reviewing all other applicants?
No, she reviewed the other applicants. This was her choice, the way I understand it.
Well, I don't doubt that any.
But the motion,
Eric Ernest?
just a second, I think we need to clarify something. I want to ask Jessica. Jessica, would we have to be more specific in our motion? Because to state that just in this single case, it's acceptable?
No, because it is specific to the single case. Any hiring of this nature would have to be approved, regardless of department or whatever, any single one issue like this. So to allow her to do this is specific to him. As I understand the motion, right?
Allow Candy Strand to employ her son as a worker at the county landfill.
Right, yep.
Anita, people that are listening in, will you please mute your phones prior to, unless you're speaking? A lot of background noise.
Tax Director's Office?
By chance, Jessica, do you have that statute? I see you looking.
I'm looking. No, I don't have it offhand.
Do you want me to go grab the policy?
Well, it's,
Shouldn't need it, I don't think. But if we have the state statute,
it's a state statute and it's been ratified into our employee manual, but it's based on state law. I've got it. I didn't know this was gonna come up, otherwise I'd had it already.
And there has been other instances through the county where the board has allowed family members working for family.
No.
There has been.
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Dwight.
I don't think there's ever been a permanent hire that was approved by the county commissioners.
The permanent wouldn't matter. It's the supervisory position over a relative.
Point of order, I addressed the chairman.
Okay.
Fine, sorry.
Thank you, Dwight.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something to you, please?
Oh, right now, yeah, just a second, please. We have a motion, we haven't got a second.
I will second that.
I would.
Now it's open for discussion. Candy, go ahead.
Okay, this,
I'm sorry.
Did Dwight second it, or what?
No, you did.
Well, he said I would, I don't know what he meant by that.
You did. Go ahead, Candy.
This position wouldn't be, is not gonna be filled until the 25th of June, when that employee, I gave him the letter of resignation, he will be done on the 25th. And my reason for wanting to get, getting this all rolling, it does take a year. The employee, whoever gets hired, has to work there for a year, even if they go to landfill school. They have to work there for a whole year before they're allowed to stay at the landfill by themselves. At this time, me and Jacob, one of us have got to be on the premises if there's garbage being taken in the facility.
Okay.
And I have been there for 21 years, and I'm not gonna stay forever here. And I am trying to, like Jacob, my other employee, and I'm hoping that if it were to be my son here, and that the two would work really good together. And I'm hoping they'll stay. I am trying to build this so I have people that are gonna stay, they're gonna understand how it works. And then I'm the only one I'm gonna get replaced next time. I mean,
You're being proactive.
well, I'm trying to be.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
see
trying to
that.
do what's best for the facility.
Mr. Chairman, it's Century Code 11-10-25. No head of any executive or administrative department or agency, either elective or appointive of any county in the state, may appoint that official's spouse, son, daughter, brother, or sister to any position under the control or direction of that official, unless the appointment has been previously approved by resolution of the board.
It was a very good job, Jessica, and thank you. I'm going to make a motion to amend the motion. I would like to include, in contrast to statute 11-10-25 prohibiting family to employ family members.
Well, it's not a prohibition, it just requires approval by the board.
Well, there's a motion to accept right now. My amendment was to add to that motion in contrast to statute 11-10-25, which prohibits family members hiring employees. I want that included with the motion.
I understand what you're saying, and what I'm saying is that's not correct, because it doesn't prohibit it, it just requires the board to approve it. So you're saying a statute that prohibits it, and it doesn't, it just requires approval of the board.
Okay.
So, and you could put pursuant to 11-10-25, the board hereby, allows this, if you'd like, if you wanna put that century code in there.
Does Merlin wanna add that to his motion?
No, I need to correct my amendment per advice from our state's attorney, which was very nice. I appreciate that. I'm gonna change my motion, which I worded incorrectly. My amendment should.
Mr. Chairman?
Please let me make my motion. Amend the motion to include, this is in contrast to 11-10-20, pursuant to 11-10-25,
There you go, pursuant to 11-10-25, and then the rest of it.
which requires commission resolution for, no, I don't need to say that.
Right. Pursuant-
Just amend the motion to include pursuant to 11-10-25.
There you go.
Thank you, Jessica. I can make things complicated. Okay, someone asked to speak?
Do you need a second to that amendment?
Yes, I need a second to my amendment, to the motion.
I'll second it. Is that the same motion that Merlin made?
No, this is to add my words to his motion. So you're not seconding that?
Yeah.
It's okay? Okay. So we have a motion to amend the motion to include pursuant to 11-10-25. There was a motion by Marv, seconded by Dwayne. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Merlin.
I think this, like with that last one, we're actually probably doing more than we need to, if that's a statute in Century Code on the book, it is what it is, and I guess it's okay if we work at citing these different things, but again, we're kind of redundant with it. But anyway, that's my cent and a half.
We may be, and that's a good point, and all we have to do is vote no. Is there any more discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dwight.
century code or not, it's in direct violation of our policy manual.
No.
Mr. Chairman, our policy manual incorporates the statute, which allows for resolution of the board to approve it.
Our state's attorney has advised us that our policy refers to this statute also. Is there any more discussion to amend the motion? I vote aye. Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Okay, the amendment to the motion has been accepted, so now we have a new motion. And I'll ask Shannon to please read it.
Okay, so the motion reads then to allow Candy Strand to employ her son as a worker at the county landfill pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 11-10-25.
Correct. Did everybody hear that? Pull your mic down. Read it again. Shannon's going to read it again.
To allow Candy Strand to employ her son as a worker at the county landfill pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 11-10-25.
Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
No.
And I vote no.
Okay, hold on.
We have a tie vote. We're looking at the rules, please.
There's a specific statute about tie.
Then the motion fails, I would think, Mr. Chairman.
We're looking.
There's something,
Where's Wayne?
I don't ever recall us having a tie. And I know there's something.
Mr. Chairman, I know that the treasurer has hired her sister-in-law to work for her during tax season without the board's permission, so.
Sister-in-law's not,
That we're,
included.
not specific.
and we'll decide this one on its own merit, too.
I know, but we've set precedents, I mean.
For those listening in, we're still researching on how to proceed with a tie vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dwight.
I'd like to make a motion that it's tabled until there is a full board.
No, there's,
That'll take care of your tie problem.
We, let's keep that motion out there. I believe we have to follow whatever the state guidelines are regarding a tie vote. If there are none, we can entertain that motion.
it's hard for me to find some of this on my phone. Can you table it? so
Yes,
that
we
I
can.
Go back. to my
Absolutely.
office?
You shouldn't be pushed like pressured
It's
either.
hard to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
We're going to table this item. I'd like to,
No, I forgot.
we're going to table this item for later discussion so we can research this subject.
Okay, I think Robert's Rules of Order would have that in it if you got a copy of that, but that's okay. Let's move on.
Thanks, Merlin. Okay, we're going to, may as well have a seat for a while. We're going to talk about 9:40 a.m. coronavirus updates and discussion, and this may take a lot of discussion for all the information that we are being inundated with. I want to put on record, I really do thank the North Dakota Association of Counties for all the work they do to keep us posted and up to date with this ever-changing fluid situation. One of the things, and I'm going to jump around here, and Shannon, you can help me out here. One of the things they talked about was election possibilities. We need a motion to vote by mail. Pardon me?
We already vote by mail. We
We
need,
need a motion to vote by mail-in ballot,
nope,
right?
nope,
That's what the deal says.
nope. We need a resolution, under the Executive Order 2020-13, where Governor Burgum strongly encouraged that, the counties take away their actual polling places and go strictly vote by mail. Since we are already vote by mail, I would just need the board to pass the resolution to, get rid of the eliminate the polling locations strictly for the June 9th, 2020 primary election.
Okay. I have something I want to share with, this is what I was looking at.
Right, but we're already vote by mail. We've already authorized vote by mail when you guys made a motion to vote by mail and have a precinct in Beulah and Hazen.
Was that specifically just by mail, or was that to?
No, you made a motion to do vote by mail and have a vote center in Beulah and a vote center in Hazen. I'm asking you to pass the resolution today to eliminate the vote center in Beulah and Hazen and only do vote by mail. We've already authorized vote by mail in our county.
Okay, the way all this information is constantly changing, so I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions here. As I read the information for the election, we had to have 2 secure ballot boxes for voting by mail?
Not two. We'll need one out in the entryway, in the lobby that people can put their ballots in until 4 PM on election day. I just met with the Secretary of State's office yesterday for 2.5 hours, so we went over all of this information.
Okay, we're gonna use Shanna's information, it's more current than what I read the day before. Shanna has advised us that she has visited with who'd you visit with?
Secretary of State's office?
Secretary of State's office, and advised her what's required and what is required for us to continue. And do you have a wording that would work with what you've learned?
Yes, here is a resolution. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
That NADACO has provided for us. The Mercer County Commission is operating under their authority provided by North Dakota Century Code 16.10402 and 16.111.101. And in consideration of the governor's declared emergency in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, hereby declares by resolution that all previous county polling locations shall be eliminated for the June 9th, 2020 primary election as allowed by the governor's executive order on March 26, 2020. The county commission further declares under their authority provided by North Dakota Century Code 16.1-11.101 to conduct the June 9th, 2020 primary election by the way of mail-in ballot. The commission encourages all qualified citizens to take every opportunity to vote by mail prior to the June 9th, 2020 election.
Okay. Per the information that we have been receiving, that due to the coronavirus, it's been suggested that we follow the resolution that Shanna just read. And I'm looking for a motion to accept or otherwise on the resolution that was just read to us.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can updates and discussion generate a motion and a vote on this subject when it's on the agenda just as updates and discussion?
The answer I would say is yes, because, and that's one of, and I'm going to answer that the best I can. I suggested that we put coronavirus updates and discussion, and then my intention was to cover all the information that we received subsequent to our last meeting and did not list them individually. I did not want to miss anything in case someone else had something that I may have listed incorrectly. So the answer to that is yes.
Well, Shanna's already got the resolution drawn up. Shouldn't the resolution been put on the agenda specifically?
I don't, Dwight, I'm sorry. In my opinion, it's no different than a motion, and it can be considered at the same time. This stuff is moving so fast and it changes so quickly. As we walk through it and read it and write things down, sometimes it changes again. So this is the best information we have at this time, so I would say it's okay to have the resolution read at this meeting and decided.
It has to do with COVID-19, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we just learned yesterday, and some of it was at 4 o'clock. The DACO responds and sends emails out to us, and it's that fast. And we're doing the best we can to keep everybody appraised and follow the recommendations that the state and informed sources provide us. So I'm going to ask Shanna to read the resolution again, please.
Certainly you guys wouldn't have to make a decision if you want now or whatever, but,
Well, we do by the 64th day before election, which is April 6th.
Yep, we've got deadlines for it. And there's nothing wrong with us making that decision today, and we're capable of it,
No,
right?
you're right, and
Okay.
it's no different than road issues or anything like that, but sometimes things come up.
Yep, they just do, and I explained that.
Yep.
Shanna, will you please read the resolution again? And I'm gonna ask you, because of the conference call and the noise, that be very clear with your wording.
The Mercer County Commission, operating under their authority provided by North Dakota Century Code 16.1-04-02 and 16.1-11.1-01, and in consideration of the governor's declared emergency in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, hereby declares by resolution that all previous county polling locations shall be eliminated for the June 9th, 2020 primary election, and is allowed by the governor's executive order on March 26, 2020. The county commissioner further declares under their authority provided by North Dakota Century Code 16.1-11.1-01 to conduct the June 9th, 2020 primary election by way of mail-in ballot. The commission encourages all qualified citizens to take every opportunity to vote by mail prior to the June 9th, 2020 election.
I so move that we adopt that resolution.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sir.
I was just wondering, maybe I was hearing things or not, maybe I got the virus or whatever, but did Shanna say something about possibly placing a box for people to drop their ballots in the lobby area that's not currently off limits to the public?
Go ahead and answer that.
That's correct, Merlin. We will have a drop box as part of the order from the governor. We have to have a secure drop box from the 40th day before election, which is April 30th, all the way through election day on June 9th at 4 p.m. It'll be locked in the lobby there. And also part of the order, we will have to have the express vote, which is ADA compliant. So if anybody needs to use that to vote, they will have to call and make an appointment with my office, and we have to allow them to use that express vote to accommodate any ADA voters.
But all votes must be in by 4 p.m. of that date.
Correct. And if they're mailing them in, they still have to be postmarked the day prior to election day to be able to count. That hasn't changed with
Mr.
election.
Chairman and other members of the board, do we also need to probably either place that in this resolution or have a separate one noting that so the public is aware, or does that go out with more election notices in the paper?
That'll definitely go out in the paper. Since we're not going to be having two of the polling locations for the primary, we'll have some extra cash flow there so that we can make sure that everybody is well aware of it being just vote by mail, and then the accommodations that we can make for them. And that's part of the executive order, so I have to do that whether it's in the resolution or not. That's what I need to do for the election.
those notifications, Shanna, could, other than what's required, could it also go on our Facebook page
Absolutely.
and our website?
Yep.
Every way that she can possibly notify the public, she will do so.
Yes.
And we can start notifying the public right away, so we can do it more than just once. So, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? I vote aye. Dwayne?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwight?
Absolutely not.
Motion passed. Okay, we're going to, do we have the people here for our bid letting? Are they online? Okay, Shanna will, it's 10 a.m., we're gonna read the bids.
You need
Just a
a
second,
mo-
please.
We need a motion to close to bids.
Need a motion to close the regular meeting, so to review the bids?
No.
Just close the bids.
Close the bids.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to close the bids.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marv, I vote aye. Dwight,
What are we voting on?
to close the bids.
I thought that was just an announcement made by yourself.
No, we have that's one of the reasons we never moved this meeting, is that we had annual bid letting and they had a date to have these in. So we have a motion at not this time to close any further bids.
Aye.
Merlin,
Aye.
motion passed. Okay, I'm supposed to write these all down then, right?
Ken, are you still on?
Yes. Yep.
Do you want us to read each number aloud like last time, or not like, or just acknowledge the bid, like who submitted a bid like we did last year? How do you want it done?
I think we can just acknowledge them.
The vendors? You want me just to go through each one and acknowledge the vendors we've received and then get it all to you?
Right,
And- And then you'll tabulate?
right.
Okay. So then you're probably good, Marvin.
And just make sure, Jessica, make sure they have that bid bond and all that on those ones that require it.
Yep, okay. All right, the first one I got is propane. I see, Farmers Union Hazen. Rude Oil and Gas Center. Farmers Union Beulah. And give me a second on this one. Fitter Oil. That's it for propane. This is diesel fuel and gas. This is Newburger Oil.
Excuse? Could we just do the propane first and then go to the
Already did.
diesel and gas, or isn't that possible?
We don't have any motions to do at this time. What we're going to do is just review all the bids, so we acknowledge which ones we accepted. Ken is going to tabulate and send the information back, and that's when we would have our discussion and vote.
We'll award it.
Well, could we at least have the bid prices on the propane?
But what we just discussed is, Shanna asked, the answer is yes, we can, absolutely, if that's what we want to do.
Well, I would like, that way a guy can keep it straight, which price we're talking about.
Well, what we discussed was, that Ken is going to, typically he fills out, the form and hands it to you guys. But because of the way this meeting is and nobody has those sheets in front of him, he's actually going to compile it and we'll post it online. Because it can get confusing enough when we're all together, let alone like this. So that was the intention, is Ken will get these and we'll get it posted in the format he usually hands out here. Should I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Dwight, it's up to you if you want those numbers read to you. I think we could proceed.
Well, the way I recollect the other bid lettings, when you said the name of the company, the price was there.
We do have the prices. Prior to us opening these bids, we asked what would be the best way, and Ken suggested that we just acknowledge who sent us the bids, he would get us the information, and we would have the information later when more of us could vote on it. And we can have that, Jessica said, that we can have all the information sent to everybody. So prior to our next meeting, we would have foreknowledge of what the prices would be.
Right, for today, we're closing the bids and acknowledging the vendors, and Ken will compile the information that will be then forwarded and reviewed and awarded next meeting.
But as soon as Ken's done with the bid tabulation, we'll post it on our website.
I would suggest that we proceed with just acknowledging who has sent us the bids, so we can put that in the minutes, and we can, it's recorded per this deadline, and we'll get our information on the website, and we'll have it ready for our next meeting.
Okay,
So we're on diesel and gas.
right, so the first one I mentioned was Newberger Oil. This second one is Fitterer Oil. Then we also have one from Rude Oil and Gas Center and Farmers Union Beulah.
Jessica, what was the first one?
Newberger Oil?
Newberger? Okay.
Yep. The next one is Oil and Grease. We have one from Newberger Oil. Expect this is Fitter again. Fitter Oil. Rude Oil and Gas, and Farmers Union Beulah. So again, for oil and grease, that's Newberger Oil, Fitter, Farmers Union Beulah, and Rude Oil and Gas.
Thank you.
Oh, right. And then this Brown Brothers. I knew they weren't any of those ones. Yep. Okay, moving on to, I'm just trying to get my space clear here, everybody, so. Okay, next one is Common Excavation. This one, first one is Hanson's Excavating out of Des Lacs. Okay, so that was Hanson's Excavating out of Des Lacs, and then the other one is Guff Miller and Sons out of Bismarck. Just the two, Hanson's and Guff Miller. next, one is rental of equipment. We got quite a few in here. The first is Lakeview Services out of Beulah. Lakeview Services out of Beulah. Huh?
Oh, you're just repeating it, but.
Yeah, no, just repeat. The next one is Unruh Trucking. I believe out of Beulah, Unruh Trucking. The next one is Kim Fugier, F-U-G-E-R-E, Kim Fugier, Trucking LLC out of Richardson, F-U-G-E-R-E,
Dickinson, you said?
Richardson. And then Guthmiller and Son Dirt Works out of Bismarck, Guthmiller and Son Dirt Works, and then lastly Bronco Brothers out of Dickinson. So that's all for rental of equipment. The next one we have is tires, and the only bid in there is Northwest Tire. And the next one is gravel crushing. $30,000, okay. This one I gotta check bonds, so this will take me a little bit longer to go through. How much? Okay. The first one we got is from Meyer Aggregate. I would note that I will be reviewing this bond with Ken afterwards. Meyer Aggregate.
Where are they from, Jess?
Dickinson. It's
Okay.
M-E-Y-E-R, Meyer Aggregate.
Oh.
Wow. I've seen that go quite like this. Fancy. Okay, this next one. This one does not have a bond with it. Okay, Ken, we'll make a notation that you and I are gonna go through all of these for the bonds, okay? This one is from Gravel Products in Minot. Gravel Products in Minot. This one is Fisher Sand and Gravel. Fisher Sand and Gravel out of Dickinson. And then the final envelope. This one is Sundry Sand and Gravel out of Minot. Sundry Sand and Gravel, that's SUNDRE. And that is all for gravel crushing. Somebody's not muted.
They're running away.
They're running, yeah. Okay, then the final, oh no, not yet. Okay, lawn care. We have one envelope in there from S&M Lawn Service out of Center. Lawn care, S&M Lawn Service out of Center. And now the final. This is culverts. The first one is Contech out of Bismarck. Contech, CONTECH out of Bismarck. The next one is Forterra out of Rapid City. Forterra out of Rapid City. And then the last one is True North Steel out of Fargo. True North Steel out of Fargo. That is everything I have. Want to make a motion to set it on the next agenda?
To accept.
Or to accept and set, yeah.
We're looking for a motion to accept and review these bids at our next meeting.
So moved.
Who was that?
Was that Dwight?
Yeah.
No, Merlin.
Merlin? I can't tell you guys apart.
Well, we look the same too.
Oh, I never said that. Okay. So Merlin made a motion to accept the bids and review and award at our next meeting.
I'll second that.
That's correct.
So we have a second. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Are we ready to go back to Candy Strand's discussion?
Can we,
There's one more item.
can we
Oh.
just finish that?
We have one more item underneath this 10 a.m. listing. Permission to bid overlay on Hazen Bay Road. To bid overlay on Hazen Bay Road. We need a motion for that effect.
Eric, Ernest, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everybody.
What day do you need the bid letting set for?
I was going to do it on May 6th at your regular meeting in May.
At 10 a.m.?
Does that sound right?
Yep.
Yep, at 10 a.m. The only question I had for you all was, because of this COVID thing, I just added a sentence in the ad for bid stating that the bids may be opened, they'll still be open publicly, but it might be via teleconference, similar to what you guys just did now. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we need a motion for permission for bid overlay on Hazen Bay Road
And set the bid letting date,
with a deadline of May 6th,
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Merlin. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Our motion is for permission to bid overlay on Hazen Bay Road, bid letting May 6th, 10 a.m. Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks,
Eric.
Eric.
Candy, we're back up. We're gonna listen to Jessica's
Yep.
research.
This is Century Code 111107. It concludes with, when the board is equally divided on any question, it shall defer its decision thereon until its next meeting, at which time the matter shall be decided by a majority of the members of the board. So at this point, we would need a motion to table it till next meeting. Or just put it on the agenda, because by statute it just does that, but it'll have to go to the next one.
So I just need to add it to next meeting.
I'm gonna, I think I'll make a motion, so it's a matter of record.
If you want, that's
Yep.
fine.
I move that we table the replacement hire at the landfill per 1111-07 until our next meeting.
There's a motion out there already.
No, the motion was tie voted, and so at that time, the motion is done, and now we're looking at a new one, unless I'm mistaken.
Under
I made a
typical,
motion to table it till the next meeting to break the tie.
Okay,
under traditional Robert's Rules of Orders, if there's a tie, the motion will fail, but under Century Code, it's automatically deferred, the decision is deferred until the next meeting. So the motion didn't fail, but the decision is deferred till the next meeting.
okay. So we still have a thank you. We still, Dwight, we have your motion. I'm sorry, I forgot that. You had a motion to table it to the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, but
Okay.
according to what Jessica just told it goes automatically, so do we even need a motion?
No. So you'd have to withdraw your motion.
I'll withdraw my motion.
All right, thank you. Well, once you make a motion, you're supposed to withdraw it.
Right.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go back to the coronavirus discussions.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
if I might have permission to bring up my issue first, and that is regarding utilization of our office over here in Stanton that we use for social services. And in visiting with Jim, and I believe Steve is probably still hanging around waiting for us, what we did here is, as you know, in our meeting, on our special meeting, we closed all county buildings to the public. And in visiting with Steve, we had an issue where it was difficult to set up a computer at one of the homes, because you know that Governor Burgum has had all state employees working from home if possible. And as you also know, that the legislature has taken care of social services as a state project now, so some of those things do sometimes come in conflict with the county. And in visiting with Jim, we do have our offices closed here on Friday for our county employees, but we still have 3 employees working on Fridays and every day of the week over at our office just across the street from the courthouse. And with that in mind, Jim was saying, hey, you know, we got to hang around for cleaning or whatever. We might have issues with snow removal. And the state said, you know, if we don't have people working on Fridays that are state employees, that may end up getting our reimbursement from them cut off for, you know, days probably that aren't worked. I don't know who wants to visit first on this. I think Jim is probably on the phone, and I think Steve is. If we want to have a little discussion with that, it'd be nice to get that cleared up and out of the way and what we want to do with that, and then on to discussion with other things, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Merlin, may I suggest that we walk through the rest of these items that we have, and we might answer that question for you.
Can I clarify something, Mr. Chairman, with this?
Jessica wants to clarify.
If you'll recall, there's two motions. The first was to close public, or the buildings to the public, but then the second related to Fridays did allow for department heads to still have their employees work if necessary, so that we could continue, my office, Shanna's office were the ones I think we used as examples. But certainly that motion still would have allowed social services to direct their employees to be there, which then would be an issue for Jim to figure out the cleaning. But the motion itself still would have allowed social services employees to be there Fridays, if that's the department head, which is social services director, to require that. So I think it's already worked into the motion. And so it'll be an issue of Jim working with them to figure out the cleaning schedule, if that helps.
Everybody interprets different. Merlin, is that a good enough explanation for the time being? And as we walk through some of these others, you'll probably get more clarification?
It is, unless maybe Jim or Steve want to make some comments just regarding this particular issue. Because again, those three people that are working over in our office at Stanton, I mean, they're state employees, they're not county employees.
Right. So the state can require them to work. That is worked into our motion. Mm-hmm.
This is Steve Reiser, and I'll just say that, we appreciate the ability to have our office open. The staff we have there are extremely busy and need to work their 40 hours in order to get our benefits out to the people, especially with all the changes that are happening with the programs. We don't want to be any inconvenience, though, to Jim in any way. So if it works, if we're not requiring or asking Jim to deliver our mail on Fridays, that can wait till Monday if they're off. As far as cleaning, we can clean our desks and keep our play area sanitized, and we can have them come in and clean on Monday. That should be sufficient for us. We're not allowing any public to come into the building. As far as snow removal, if the snow is too much, I'll probably cancel and not have the people come in. Otherwise, we can get around on our own.
Steve, would you?
Comment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Steve, that was a very good explanation and very beneficial how much you wanted to help out to help us get through these situations. Would you please notify Jim that unless notified, he does not have to come in on Friday? And does not have to come in until Monday?
Yes, I can send him an email to that effect.
If you would, please.
I think.
Yes, I'll do that. Thank you.
Does that help you out, Merlin?
Yeah, I believe so. I think, like I said, I think Jim is in on the phone system here with us, so
Okay.
if anything comes up, maybe he can visit too.
Okay, there's a couple other items that I have on here, and then we'll see what other people want to bring up too. I want Jessica to explain the rulings that we have right now. Just there's a lot of people that may not look at our website or hear the bulletins that come out, and how we're handling the requirements of the open meetings. It's pretty simple. So, want to go ahead and explain that to them?
Well, the governor has come down now and suspended in-person public meetings for the time being. Where do I want to start, I guess?
Just have to include that, basically.
Right. Public meetings don't necessarily don't necessarily mean in person. The Attorney General has clearly defined over and over throughout his opinions that emails, phone calls, different gatherings and whatnot can constitute a public meeting, even if it's not in the formal setting that we're in. So to that end, now in this situation, it also allows for conferencing and whatnot to fulfill that public meeting, because public does not necessarily equate to in person. Which was my opinion on the front end, and now, like I said, the governor has come down and actually suspended the in-person meetings through executive order. So that's the nutshell, I guess.
So until further, are we going to continue with the teleconference, Chairman? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That goes along with our resolution to follow the CDC and the Nordic
Does the
Department.
board wanna take any action on any other boards that they're on as far as like planning and zoning and things like that? To follow those recommendations, or are you gonna leave it up to that chairman of that board?
I'm not sure that we need to, I think we covered it, we said we're gonna follow the guidelines of the state.
Well, we've
And the-
discussed this before, and
Yeah.
since each board is so different, I think, and I continue to think it's best, I had actually talked to Mark Kafer, who is the attorney for Water Resource Board. He wanted to make sure that they're doing okay. I relayed to him that it just seems better left to each board to navigate that. They know, they meet in various places, which aren't necessarily our own county buildings. They know their technological capacities best. So I do think it's best to continue to leave those to the boards to navigate. And certainly if any of them have any questions, they can reach out to me and we can figure this out. But because each one can be so different, I think it's best to continue to leave it to those
Okay.
boards.
I was using boards and committees synonymously, and I
Yeah.
should not have been. Jessica just talked about all the boards. Are you also using committees in the same respect?
Yep, because committees are also subject to public, open meetings. And so the same rules apply, whether it's a formal board or whether it's a committee formed by this board. They all have to comply with the same, rules. And so I think the same logic applies there.
Okay. So we've covered a little bit about open meetings, and so people understand that the way we are doing business is in line with the latest rulings on that. Now, the other things I wanted to cover a little bit was the FEMA qualifications, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And I'm gonna go through this, and Shanna can help me, and we'll walk our way through it. The first thing, there's a fact sheet that is sent out by FEMA, and I would like that fact sheet sent to all the department heads. It kind of tells them what we're eligible for, and it's just to give them notification that we need to follow whatever FEMA guidelines are. So that's just a suggestion. The second one that I have here is, there's a FEMA online form that we can get. And we can actually start processing some of our costs prior to waiting till the end of a year or 6 months, whatever. We can do them, I believe, on a monthly basis if we so choose. So I'd like us to get that online form as soon as possible so we know what FEMA is requiring. And FEMA also has a, I'm trying to think of the word here, a regional administrator. And we could contact our regional administrator. If we walk through our simple, in my point of view, if we walk through our simple bills that we've collected, let's just say in the first 30 days, and we apply for them and they get back to us, we'll learn the process of getting these approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I think that's a discussion you need to have with our emergency manager, Carmen.
Really?
She does all the submittal to FEMA for everything.
Does she?
Of course, in my office, we are gonna be
Collecting?
the bills, and then I plan on, making sure the claim voucher, the invoice, and a copy of the check is all stapled together, and I'm keeping it in a folder for her, but she does all the reimbursement paperwork.
I was unaware of that. I was assuming that this was gonna go through the auditor's office.
No, even all my payroll stuff, we're keeping track of everything on a separate spreadsheet. It's being marked on the timesheets, but Gwen has started a separate spreadsheet to keep track of who needs to be gone for COVID reasons, and that'll all get turned over to Carmen for the reimbursement process.
I've just been educated, and thank you very much, Shannon. I agree with her that I will take this discussion up with Carmen, who I'm sure is on top of everything already. So the only thing that I had is if we could possibly send this fact sheet, would Shannon, would you consider sending that to all the department
Yep,
heads?
Can I get a copy from you after the
Absolutely.
meeting?
That's all I have for the time being. I have one more item. Oh, I have a question. The sick leave, we can get up to 80 hours under certain situations for employees for sick leave. My question is this in addition to our present sick leave, or do we have to use our current sick leave up first?
No, this relates to the federal regulations, which Shannon and I have been going through, and trying to figure this out with, the Association of Counties and a lot of different things. But long story short, the FMLA was amended to allow COVID to be included for some of this stuff. Now, that 80 hours sick leave is specific to COVID, and so it doesn't entitle every employee to it. You have to meet those qualifications in order to be able to get it. But so it's entirely separate. So if you're out for a flu, you use your regular sick leave. If it's COVID related, then you're entitled to this 80 hours. So not everybody's gonna get it. The FMLA stuff is a whole nother situation. Long story short, if you have an employee in your department that is subject or may have COVID illness or is affected by it, whether it's school or daycare, get in touch with Shanna, have that employee get in touch with Shanna, because there's a few different ways this works. And the way it interacts with our standard time off, our standard sick leave, standard FMLA, all of this is related and yet separate. And so if you have an employee affected by COVID, get them in touch with Shanna so we can try to navigate which might be the best route for them here.
Okay. I'm glad I brought that up. Does anybody else have something they want to cover under COVID?
And just to that end, Shanna did send an email to the department heads telling department heads, if you got a COVID issue, have your employee get in touch with her, just to try to let them know, because to try to articulate all this is going to be impossible. So it's going to be fact specific.
Even if we do articulate it to 10 people, you're going to have 7 different understandings.
Yep. So we'll deal with
Okay.
it.
Yep. Okay, it's getting a little, well, sometimes it gets clear and then it gets muddy again, so it just keeps changing. Okay, does anybody else have any other discussions?
Mr. Chairman, it looks like we're still lucky here in Mercer County. We don't have any of these cases that are reported. You know, they said now we have 142 total in the state, so maybe our atmosphere here in Mercer County is helping with that virus.
Probably.
It's because you're here, Merlin.
Yep.
Okay, I have a discussion, one more discussion item regarding this. It might be, well, it might be quite unpopular, we'll see. I would like to discuss us reopening our county courthouse to employees only on Fridays. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? We are, by following the CDC and Department of Health and all the state, we are complying with that, to my knowledge, by restricting public access to our buildings. Having our courthouse closed on Fridays was a little bit above and beyond. I believe it was necessary, but I, at this time, believe we could go back to having our courthouse open all 5 days.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
I think, you know, with the way we've done it, we're helping with some of that social responsibility and different things that Governor Burgum keeps talking about. And, you know, having our courthouse closed on Fridays for people in there helps with the virus itself getting killed for those extra hours, and also working with the whole thing. I think, you know, we're doing our part for that, and maybe that's another reason we don't have any of these cases in Mercer County. But, you know, it's my belief we should keep things as we had it.
Okay, for discussion, I'm going to put my motion on the table. And I make a motion to have county courthouse open Monday through Friday. Thank you, Merlin.
You're welcome.
So there's a motion on the table to have the county courthouse open Monday through Friday, effective immediately. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Motion failed. Lack of a second. That's all the points I had. Anybody else? Dwayne?
No, I just want to add, you know, the landfill is open on Friday because they get a lot of deliveries. So, so far it's been one of their busiest days because people are home doing remodeling jobs and it's,
It's
so, but
spring
they
too.
have things in place there where they don't go in the building at all and they go out and, so keep their distance and I think it's working out quite well. That's all I have.
It's good. We got spring cleaning going on too, right?
Well, that hasn't started yet. It's all the other things.
Dwight, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, I talked or got a response from Terry Trainer last night. He only knows of one or two counties that haven't went back to the normal work week.
Well, my motion died, so that, I understand what you're saying. Merlin, you have any further comments?
Not at this time.
If there be no further business, meeting is adjourned.
All in all, that went pretty good.
We walked through a lot of stuff pretty quick.
Well,
I think that some people called in and they got a busy signal as the text messages.
yeah.